And welcome back to Meet the Authors. So glad you could stay with us. Our guest now is Patty Butkovich. Patty, welcome.
Thank you.
Patty is a very successful author. She has published tons of poetry, and she has actually been the awarded Poet of the Year by the Mississippi Poetry Society, and currently is the president of the South Mississippi Poetry Society. Is that right?
That's right. Thank you, Philip.
So, and you brought one of your books. Show me your book.
I did. Long-Stemmed Rose.
Point to the camera there.
Long-Stemmed Rose is my book that the Mississippi Poetry Society published for me when I was named Poet of the Year in 2013.
And how many poems do you have in there?
Well, I think there's 47 pages.
All right, so lots of nice poetry.
Quite a few.
I love poetry. I'm a bit of a poet myself, but not to your level. And I love writing poetry and reading your poetry. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a poet.
Well, I didn't begin writing poetry until I retired from teaching school. And the death of a friend, which of course is a sad event, actually started me writing my poetry. In reviewing and thinking about my friendship with her, I just decided I would try to write a poem, and it turned out okay.
It turned out okay.
And I was hooked.
Oh, I know that feeling. You start writing poetry, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, this is marvelous. My father was the same way. He started writing poetry when he retired. 65, he wrote his first poem, and by the time he died in his 90s, he had 200 poems. I put a book then together for in his honor.
Oh, how nice.
It is,
That's
sure.
wonderful. And the new Poet of the Year is going to be honored at our Mississippi Poetry Society Festival, which is coming up in April 7th and the 8th here in Ocean Springs at the Gulf Hills Hotel and Conference Center.
So April 7th and 8th, Gulf Hills Conference Center, the statewide Poetry Society Festival. And you have them every year, and this year it's here in Ocean Springs.
We do, and we name a new Poet of the Year every year. This year it's a man from Starkville. His name is Michael Shelton, and his new book will be coming out.
That's pretty exciting. So anybody who wanted to go can come to this conference?
Yes, the public is invited, and there'll be a whole weekend of good poetry going on. We have our keynote speaker that we're quite excited about. Her name is Dr. Susan Brannon Walker. She's from Mobile, and we know that she'll have a lot of interesting things to entertain us with. And
will there be workshops too?
There's a workshop too, and if you would like to, anyone that would like to come to the Poetry Festival can look on our website, the Mississippi Poetry Society website, which is misspoetry.net, and that's MISS poetry.net.
Yeah, I've been there. We just had a big contest that they have every year, and a poetry on that. So can you read us one of your poems, please?
Well, sailing.
Here's let me interrupt you. There was a website. There's the website for finding all the information about the Poetry Society. There are 3 branches, and this branch, which is really seemed to be headquarters mostly out of Gaucher, is really active. They have meetings every month, and poetry gets together, so look them up. All right, I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead, Patty, read us a poem.
I chose one about sailing because sailing is one of the main reasons that brought us to Mississippi many years ago.
Well, let's tell that story before you read the poem. You came down from Illinois, you and your husband, 35 years ago, and you shipped all your stuff down the Mississippi River. Tell us about that. How'd that go?
Well, we were interested in sailing, and we wanted to move to a place that had warmer, nicer climate so we could do more sailing. And we came down the Mississippi River. It took us about a month to get from Illinois to the Mississippi. We ended up in New Orleans, really, and then came across. But New Orleans was a little bit too big of a city for us, so we ended up settling here in Ocean Springs and have never left.
Well, 35 years, you obviously liked it. So I'm sorry I keep interrupting. Go ahead, let's hear your poem. And what's it titled?
This one is called Night Race. It was perfection that normally dwells only in dreams, that late night in June, shirt sleeve comfy, wind blowing a steady 15 knots across the starboard quarter into the mainsail and towering spinnaker, pushing our racer to hull speed. The sunlight reflecting to earth from the surface of the full moon cast a shadowy glow on the deck and sails, making flashlights optional even at the midnight hour. It was a surreal, timeless, floating world as the bow cut sharply through the black, restless water that swished along the polished hull. The dark night waters that managed to reach above the hull and spill across the deck were alive with shimmering specks of phosphorus. So hypnotic was the sight, I found an appreciative "oh" or "ah" escaping my lips repeatedly. The sea and the boat were like dancers meshed in harmony to the beat of music playing only for their hearing. The sea, in a dazzling jeweled crown, flowed gracefully around and over the deck, receded coyly only to return after more lovely than before. This euphoric time capsule faded from the dawn as other sailboats and the finish line came into view. Though it happened many years ago, I have only to close my eyes and I'm there once more, rushing through that sparkling moonlit water, trimming the spinnaker as we race to Pensacola.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for reading it. I love the images. I mean, that's what's great about poetry, isn't it? You see the moon, you see the sea with its crown, and then it's all free verse, and so you just can write and get into this. Do you write mostly free verse poems?
No, I do a variety of things. It kind of depends on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
When I start writing and have a topic, the form will kind of come to you as I get started. It kind of forms itself as I work, and sometimes I use forms. I like pentumes, and I write a lot of sonnets.
Great.
And some villanelles.
Where can people get your book? Is there somewhere to
It
hold
isn't
it up for the camera again?
It isn't available in any of the local stores, but it's available on Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. And that's great. I'm so glad you could come and tell us about your poetry and read us some. It's nice, Patty. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you. So.